Welcome back to Personal Best Radio. My guest today is immigration attorney, best-selling author, and communication trainer, Laurie Puhn. Laurie is a frequent commenter for Fox News and a person after my own heart as a host of radio program Eye on New York. Her most recent book is Instant Persuasion: How to Change Your Words to Change Your Life. I've invited her on the show to speak with her about topics covered in this book, and she has graciously accepted. Laurie, welcome to Personal Best Radio.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I have got a whole lot of questions, so I think I'm going to just jump right into them.
Okay,
now,
I'm ready.
Great. In your book, Instant Persuasion, you present about 35 rules to get what you want conversationally. Is there an overarching view or philosophy that connects these things?
Well, the first thing is that what really matters is how we say something. We often go through our lives in our relationships and we think, well, I should be able to say anything because I love him, right?
Right.
I should be free to say anything.
Sure.
I should be able to tell the store what I want. I should be able to tell my boss I deserve a raise and he better give it to me.
Uh-huh.
And so in that way, whether or not we deserve something, whether or not we love our spouse, all becomes irrelevant. Because when we say things in an instant, let's say we disagree with someone before we listen, we criticize without complimenting, we expect somebody to read our mind, in that instant, we are persuading people to ignore us and disrespect us and dislike us. And so it's really what I encourage people to do is to change their mindset in our everyday life and realize that what we say and how we say it is what we get.
Yes.
And that every time we open our mouth, we're persuading someone to like us or hate us.
Sure.
Respect or disrespect.
Exactly. So how difficult is it for people to change their conversation patterns?
Aaron, it's really easy.
It's not difficult.
It's not difficult. It is so simple.
So,
for instance, I'll give everyone a tip. If you want to be a people magnet, okay, I'm going to give tips where these are things happening in our lives every day. We just haven't noticed them before. And so that's what it is, putting on a new set of glasses today for everyone to change their lives. Whenever somebody gives you a compliment about someone else, right?
Uh-huh.
Marcia gave a great presentation at work. Oh, such a pleasure meeting your wife. She was so intelligent and witty. My wife loved having dinner with her the other night when we went out.
Uh-huh.
You hear a compliment about someone else and a bell should go off in your head. That bell should say to you, I better go pass that compliment on.
No doubt.
It was about. That's what I call positive gossip.
So many topics we could discuss. In your opinion, what are a few of the most common areas where people mess up in conversation, and what can be done to fix these?
Okay, well, I'll tell you about a person who every single listener has encountered, probably sometime this week, and that would be the complainer, the person who always has a problem with everything.
Uh-huh.
Now, believe it or not, all of us are complainers sometimes.
Sure.
Some more than others. Some are known for it and avoid it. But the issue here is there's nothing wrong with complaining. It's very smart, actually. You're an intelligent person if you find problems. You are. But
yes.
The smart-talking person is one who also finds solutions.
Of course.
And so a simple change in words, which is whenever we spot a problem, you want to complain with impact. That's an instant persuasion rule. Think about the problem and come up with a possible solution. And then present the complaint and possible solution in the same conversation. Now, you're the go-to person in the office. You're the problem solver. You're the one who's not just saying, honey, you never help me in the kitchen.
Yes.
Right? Instead, you're saying, how about on the nights that I cook dinner, I get to sit on the couch while you clear the table and run the dishwasher.
Great. Be
Is
more
that
specific.
okay with you? And if not, do you have another suggestion?
Right. More specific.
We want to be a problem-solving communication is the key. As a lawyer and a mediator, you're very right, Aaron, specific, and focused on the solution. Many times we get into conversations where we're talking about the past, and as long as we're talking about the past, we're stuck in the past.
Right.
What we really want to know is that it won't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So this concept of moving from the past into the future, from the problem into the solution, is the principle behind good communication. It even works with apologies. Have you ever had someone say, I'm sorry? I'm sorry.
and that's it.
And that's it. And you're thinking, well, you might be sorry, but I'm sure you're going to backstab me tomorrow or forget to pick up that thing or take the credit on the report that I did in the office. So an apology is really not about the past. It's about the future.
Sure.
A good apology is, I'm sorry for, there are two parts. Number one, I'm sorry for blank. Fill it in with what you did wrong. And number two, and this is the real key, in the future I will blank.
Yes, a plan for the future.
Yeah. And that's persuasive. That's the key. We often don't think about persuasion in this way. But if you want someone to accept your apology, then you got to focus on the future. And if you want someone else to give you a good apology, then now that we know this, we can say to the person, well, I know that you understand now. We've talked about it, what you did wrong. But I really need to know what you're going to do to prevent it from happening again.
Right.
You see, most people don't realize that's what we need to know in our core soul in order to move forward.
Sure, to get that stability, no more surprises. I like that. So what do you feel are the most important areas of conversation that people should be competent in? I mean, if they can't get anything else right, if they had just one thing that they really should get good at, what would that be?
You should learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, disagreement is a wonderful thing. Again, people who are vocal have opinions, thoughts. They're intelligent. They contribute to conversations. People want to be around them. They stand out for good reasons. But especially in this time and this climate, in our political culture, our economic culture, what we want to do is realize that in the moment that we disagree with someone, that's the moment at which we should ask the person first a very persuasive question. Why do you think that?
So an open-ended conversation question.
Yep. You ask the question, listen to the other person's answer, and then you're free to disagree. You can disagree in the same way you would have 30 seconds ago. But because of that 30-second delay in which you asked the question and showed respect, that's the key. This is all about values. Respect by listening. Now that person is going to respect and listen to you. And what you've done is turned what could have been a conflict into a conversation.
And people like to be asked their opinion. So asking them, what do you think about that, is obviously going to endear them.
I always say, if somebody's looking for an icebreaker at a cocktail party, a birthday party, a bar, in the office, whatever it is, all you need to do is ask someone for their opinion on something.
Right. Now,
and they'll open up. You're their new best friend.
Exactly.
If you sound new to the area, where do you think I should go for dinner?
Exactly. Simple questions that make a big difference.
Let people know you value their input and their opinions, and in turn they'll value you and me.
Excellent. So how do people change their conversation patterns, and how do we do that? How do people, you were saying it was easy. I think we better say it one more time so people hear it.
Okay, well, the first step is recognizing that you have conversational habits. We all have habits.
Right.
And if you don't know what your habits are, they're probably hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
So is your habit to jump in and disagree? Is your habit that when you get a report and you have to give feedback to a colleague, you find what's negative about it first?
Yes.
You say, this paragraph, this didn't explain it well. We all have had a boss like that.
Sure.
Fix this. And you walk away, you think, gosh, I guess I can't do anything right.
Right.
And you think, why should I even try any harder? He doesn't notice anyway. That boss has a habit. Mm-hmm. Maybe a very good, well-intentioned person. But by pointing out the negative, and the rule is point out the compliments and then the negative. Because there's always something good to say. We just take it for granted that it should have been done that way anyway, so why should we mention it?
Excellent. So our first step is awareness, and that's why we have books like yours that we can read and just become aware of these different areas.
Then you change your words.
That's right.
Like I said, punch with a smile, compliment before the criticism.
Yes, and then we just
problem,
practice
come up with a solution.
Imagine it will take time, but in time we can make that happen. That makes perfect sense.
It is, and it's really about reinforcement. Once you start using the instant persuasion rules in your daily life, you begin to notice real changes. You notice, for instance, there's a rule called show you care.
Yes.
And what's this about? Well, you know that somebody else did not know this rule if you've ever told a friend that you have a doctor's appointment. And then maybe you have it on Tuesday. Tuesday comes and goes. Wednesday comes and goes. You were worried about this doctor's appointment. Thursday comes and goes. Finally, on Friday, your friend calls you up. And she says, hey, do you want to go for dinner tomorrow night?
Completely ignoring or forgetting or not bringing up the doctor
Never
appointment.
even asking you, how did the doctor's appointment go?
Right.
And so that person, what she has done is instantly persuaded you that you really don't want to be that close to her.
Yeah.
You really can't trust her. You can't count on her. And so these are the subconscious messages that we're sending with our words. On the other hand, today, how easy is this? If all of us decide that whenever someone shares personal, important information with us, whether it's a brother's wedding, a doctor's appointment, an important sporting event, a golf game, we make a note in our date book, our calendar. Just call the person the next day, say, how'd it go? And in that instant, you will have solidified a trustful, respectful, compassionate friendship.
Yes.
And it's fantastic if you do this with someone at work. Because at work, everybody's ignoring everybody.
Right. Everybody's focused on the task, not so much on the people. Right.
You'll be the only person who remembers that the secretary down the hall was away on vacation because she had a friend whose child was getting married in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And when and you say, how was the wedding in Charlotte?
Right.
You will be the only person who asks, and that secretary will do your work before anyone else.
I love it. Now, you brought up another area of conversation which it just jumped right out to me because it's happened maybe way too often. You're asked by a friend for a favor and maybe to borrow the car or an item of clothing. Now, not that when I had roommates I had guys asking me for clothes, but it seems to happen a lot among the girls, I think.
Oh, sure.
It's a usual thing. I'm just curious,
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, in the other closet, right?
I mean, that's right.
So how is it that you kind of turn down these requests? You're not really at all comfortable with saying yes, but you don't want to hinder the relationship. You don't want to hurt the relationship. What's a good way of dealing with those situations?
What you want to do is create a sincere and honest policy. Now, this is going to apply to a wide range of situations. So what this means is when your friend asks you for your shirt, you have to have already thought through and be prepared to say, you know what, I've just had some bad experiences in the past, and as a result, I made a policy. I just don't share my clothes, and so I'm sorry about that, but it's not you. I just have made it that I can't keep track of things, and I don't share them with anyone.
Yeah.
Somebody asked you about your car. You know, I know you need a car, but and maybe you have a spouse. My spouse and I, we've decided that it's been too much for us. We're just not loaning our car to anybody. So
Sure.
It's not you. It's just a policy we have.
That's great.
That's how to get out of it.
Those are great ideas. And that does what it takes on our part is some thinking ahead. What are those things that are most important to us, that are most valuable, if it might be, or whatever the reason is. Those things that are just not going to, not going to have other people coming to us about.
We're speaking today with Laurie Puhn, author of Instant Persuasion. I'm Dr. Groh, and we'll be back with more on this important topic right after this quick station break.